What's up, guys? Another video. In this one, I'm going to be comparing LinkedIn as an acquisition channel to cold email as an acquisition channel. So obviously I want to preface this by saying each platform has different needs. It's going to entirely depend on your target audience. There's definitely different factors you can't account for, but I definitely do think that there are four main things that make up a good acquisition channel. And obviously LinkedIn and cold email have advantages in both. So before I go into a comparison between the two, on these four things, I want to first get out of the way what exactly they are. So I believe these are the four things that make up a good acquisition channel. If I can actually, so essentially number one, like I said, is relevance to target audience. So how clear is it that your target audience is actually on the platform and uses it, and also active? So not only do you need to find a large amount of them on this platform, you need to make sure they're actually actively using it. So cold email, you're not often having the problem with this because a lot of people do actively use cold email. It's the most used platform in the world. Almost 5 billion people use it, I think. So yeah, cost efficiency and return on investment. So how cost effective is it? What's a return on investment? Because obviously if you're breaking even using either channel, if you're spending loads of money on the software, it's not going to be worth it, right? So third is conversion rate and lead quality. How efficient is it to actually find proper leads, and how many steps does it take to actually convert these into paying clients? And the last one is scalability and growth potential. So how easy is it to double the inputs of a system and double your results when you need to scale and when you can handle more appointments or more clients? So let's go over the first one here. So this is relevance to target audience. So essentially, comparing LinkedIn and cold email here, obviously, again, it truly depends on your target audience, who you're targeting, where they are. However, for B2B, I think LinkedIn's, like it says here, LinkedIn's professional network and the in-depth targeting that you can go into on the platform make it highly relevant for acquisition, and you can connect directly with decision makers. I think that's just because of the nature of cold email. You have to properly segment lead lists. You have to go through filtering loads of different data, properly trying to sift through unqualified leads before you've even reached out to them. It is honestly, different aspects of cold email are like a full-time job. You've got deliverability, which consistently has to be managed. You've got lead sourcing, which obviously takes time if you want to find leads within your exact ICP and truly not go astray from anything that isn't them. And then you've obviously got writing the copy, iterating, managing, testing. Like it's a full-time job. However, LinkedIn, I think, is definitely more efficient to quickly define who you want to target and then find them easily on the platform. But in terms of how relevant and how likely it is for your target audience to be on there, LinkedIn for B2B, like I said, I think it's got 80 million B2B decision makers that are active on LinkedIn. So it's absolutely crazy. But then obviously you can't deny that absolutely everyone uses cold email. No matter if you're a carpenter, or you're CEO of Netflix, like you're going to be actively using cold email. Obviously, if you're a local business, there's probably going to be better ways to be reached out to than cold email because you're going to be out in the field. But I'd say if your target audience is on LinkedIn, it can be easier to find them. However, cold email, probably more relevant just because there's a high likelihood of your target audience being on there, but obviously do the thorough research and make sure that they can both be contacted. Okay, perfect. So the next one is cost efficiency and return on investment. So LinkedIn, while it's potentially pricier, you can offer a more targeted reach and a strong ROI due to the conversion rate from engaged professionals. So especially with B2B acquisition, it's definitely a lot easier to find decision makers from this. And like I said, targeting is a lot easier. So you're not having to spend tons and tons of money on lead sourcing if you've got Sales Navigator to actually generate the decision makers that you want to target. Cold email, like it says here, often it entails lower direct costs, but it can potentially lead to more cost-effective campaigns and favorable return on investment. So essentially, cold email, like when you're scaling it up, I think it is a lot easier to become cost efficient because of the volume that you can put out at a lot more ease than LinkedIn. because it's so much more easier, especially with the restrictions that LinkedIn are putting on, to double the amount of cold emails that you're sending than it is to double the amount of LinkedIn messages that you're sending. So I think as you grow with cold email, it definitely becomes so much more cost efficient, and you're probably going to get a higher return on investment with cold email. Obviously, with that being said, I do believe cold email is inherently a bit harder. It's a little bit more competitive as well to get results with. So probably not going to get the best. It's probably not going to be the most cost efficient at the start as you try and learn it, and LinkedIn's probably going to be the better thing for you. But as you develop, as you get better, cold email is always going to win. Next comparison point I wanted to take into account was conversion rate and quality. So, like I said here, active engagement and relationship building on LinkedIn can foster high quality conversions over time. That's simply because you have the profile, you have the ability to build content, you have the ability to create your brand around being perceived as an industry leader, posting valuable content consistently, and the more that you can show you actually know what you're talking about, the more opportunities you have for probably building relationships and building rapport over LinkedIn. And obviously, as people are in your network, as they see more and more of your content, as they get to know you more, this is going to lead to higher quality conversions and probably high quality leads that have more intent to buy. Obviously, cold email, like the name is in it, it's cold. Like they've probably not heard of you before, so it's going to yield varied initial conversion rates. Obviously, because that trust barrier is still up. Obviously, there's tons of different mechanisms to reduce that trust barrier and increase the quality of the outcome. And like it says here, it's influenced by the personalization levels. So how much you can actually reach out to them and find a commonality, find an interest, show you've done your due diligence, and you know what they're talking about, you know what they do. It's definitely going to go a long way, because I mean, that if that's the advantage that LinkedIn has over cold email, with the fact you can build rapport, with the fact that you can address commonalities because of the social aspect of it, then you need to see if you can transition that into cold email, and then you're going to win. So the next part that I wanted to talk about was scalability and growth potential. So essentially, if I could actually unhighlight this, LinkedIn scalability hinges on LinkedIn audience size. So this is crucial, because although you may be able to find a large amount of your target market on LinkedIn, are they actually active? That's another question. So industry presence within the platform. So for example, if you're targeting B2B, for example, marketing agencies, it's extremely frequent for them to be active on LinkedIn. However, let's say if you're targeting plumbers or roofers, they're probably not going to be actively using LinkedIn. So this is going to impact your growth potential if you can't reach out to these guys at scale because they're not active on the platform, or most of the time they don't even have accounts if you're in certain niches. So also with scalability on LinkedIn, it's getting increasingly harder to add more accounts and not get banned, and make sure they're verified, build up connections. Yeah, it's definitely becoming challenging. There are ways around it, but I think it's a lot more safe with cold email. People are used to it. Automation facilitates scalability in cold email campaigns, and obviously maintaining quality and avoiding spam is absolutely crucial, as you guys know. So the automation aspect of cold email is definitely easier to scale up, because you can add more cold email accounts. You simply have to warm them up for 14 days. Obviously, it takes time to do the technical stuff and to learn that stuff and to set it all up. But once you've learned it, it's extremely easy to scale up cold email. So much more effective than LinkedIn, and probably more cost effective as well, and definitely more time effective, because the automation aspect is a lot more built up. It's definitely way better automation tools on cold email than LinkedIn, because cold email is more friendly to it. Neither of them are friendly to it, but cold email seems to have less friction when it comes to automation. But obviously, maintaining quality and avoiding spam is absolutely crucial. Just to go over some key practices for this: make sure you're setting up DMARC, DKIM, SBF. Make sure you're having no more than 3 users per domain. Ideally, no more than 2, because honestly, Google are cracking down. Putting each user into some sort of warming software. Maybe that's Lemwarm, Instantly, anything like that, where you can warm up each email account for 14 days at a minimum. Make sure you're in that warm-up period, make sure you're mimicking human behavior as much as possible. So even when you're warming up a domain, don't make sure you're warming up with like 40 emails straight off the bat. As soon as you put it into the software, make sure it gradually ramps up. So you want it to gradually tick, gradually increase, And then obviously when it comes to the end of those 14 days, you want to do the same. So you want to gradually ramp it up, because even after that warm-up period, if you come in straight off the bat and start sending 30 emails per account, it's going to look a little bit weird. So obviously all cold email is, and all cold email deliverability is just trying to mimic human behavior as much as possible. And you want to do that by acting as human as possible, right? So consistently increase that when you start. Don't just jump in off the bat and start sending crazy numbers. But yeah, that's how it works. So yeah. So like it says here, just to wrap up, the effectiveness of each channel ultimately is going to depend on your industry, your target audience, your messaging strategy, and your ability to balance personalization with automation, because no one has time to manually send 100 messages a day, unless you do. And to be honest, on LinkedIn, it's not too costly. So yeah, like it says, do all the research on your industry, where they hang out, the target audience. Like I've said many times, if you don't fully understand your prospects, you're never going to be able to actually create a message in accordance with what they want and create some distance between where they are now and what they want. You're never going to be able to address pain points clearly. So make sure you have the right messaging strategy as well. Balance personalization with automation, and yeah, you should be good to go. Anyway, that's everything that I've got for this video. If you are an agency owner above 50K per month, you have the desire to scale in the next few months, you have existing case studies, you have existing happy clients, you can book in a call with me in the link below, where we can simply talk your current strategy, any tips I can give you, and just simply have a chat about whether or not I can help you or not, and yeah, get to know each other. Don't worry, there'll be no pictures on the first call or anything like that. Anyway, thank you guys. Like, subscribe. I appreciate it. And yeah, have a good day.